my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave with a few very big announcements actually today that I'm very happy to be speaking about. But more importantly, lots to talk about on good old Bitcoin, seeing the downside fall through from what we spoke about over the last few days, although still realistically we're kind of just ranging. So not really any fun things to be talking about like over the last couple days, but you know, more and more of the overall dribble keeps on coming in. And now that I got you in here, sorry about that clickbait title. It's just the last bit of Hopium that we might even have, but we'll be talking about why the Hopium is quickly evaporating. So a lot to talk about today. But before we get into it, I do want to remind myself that it is the last day, or it's less than 16 hours for the 20% off discounted period on all programs. That is the TA program and the Master Your Option programs right here. Don't have to show myself after this for a long time because there ain't no holidays coming up. So this is going to be the last chance for a while. And of course, as always, make sure that these programs are, applicable to you. Got to have enough time to make use of it. Of course, they are very long, both over 35 hours long. So that means that, you have to have at least that amount of time to invest into it to make the most out of it. And realistically, you're going to want to come back to these over time to, deepen your understanding, as that is how the content was designed. A lot of people on Twitch last night were asking me, why do I kind of down talk these programs? Why do I basically try to dissuade people from entering into them? And it's actually very simple. The reason why I do that is because if me basically saying something along the lines of, what I just said kind of dissuade someone, they're not the kind of person who's going to be successful in this endeavor to begin with. So I want to make sure that the people who get in here are kind of self-selected, self-motivated, because that's what it's going to take. These are not magic pills. It's going to require a lot of hard work and dedication on your own behalf, but they are extremely comprehensive, both of them. So at the end of the day, for me, it's more important to make sure that people who actually want these sorts of things get into these sorts of things, and that's who I do it for. For everyone else, well, that's what the free content's for, man. The TA 101 playlist and the options 101 playlist are 100% free. That's going to get pretty much most people where they want to be. The streams, of course, as well, over 1,200 videos on YouTube to view at any time at your leisure. That's the word that I'm looking for. And that's probably going to be most people right there. Most people don't want to become traders. Most people don't really want to do this in like a lifestyle manner. Most people have like a job, right? And that's completely fine. It's just that sort of a person probably isn't going to have enough time to invest in something like this to begin with. So I always want to weed out those people first and foremost, because then the people who do self-select in, they're more likely to have success. They're more likely to have a better experience, and those are the kind of people that I want to work with. So yes, I should briefly explain it as well. Definitely check out the videos on the website here, crowntrading.net. The link is in the description of this video. No code is needed for the discount. The TA program is all-encompassing with not just technical analysis, but also position management, risk management, understanding underlying market dynamics, and a shit ton more. That's the one that most people are usually looking at. The Master Options program is only focused on the derivative products of options, which again for me is very near and dear to my heart. That's where I was a professional market maker, authorized trader in equity options, and that's what I think is actually probably the most valuable one. But even less people are going to be interested in something like that because the learning curve is very big. So I would say that it is assumed that you should know a little bit of TA in order to make the most out of this program right here. But there's plenty of people who don't know anything about TA at all, who trade options for a living. Yep, I'll get off that. Okay, great. Don't have to show myself any longer. But as for the announcement that I wanted to get onto, the Krown trading application, which again is going to be 100% free for the base functionality of it, is likely going to be coming out tomorrow. What I just got from the lead developer right here, I'll just read it off. We are pushing the update to the tester to the test server in the next few hours. If everything goes well, then we will do the new platform on the live server tomorrow. So that means that all the subscriptions will come back as well. If you previously, or sorry, not previously, but if you have or you invested in the Jewel months ago, that'll be coming back, and you'll notice that it'll be on your new dashboard. We will be redoing a lot of the videos for it because our lovely developers' sexy French accents can sometimes not be heard as well as as I think some people might like. So we'll be redoing some of those videos, but at launch it'll probably be what we've had before. So Really, really excited about that because that means that the jewel is coming back. I haven't really been talking about the jewel. It's like literally not even been on. It's literally not even been available for the last 2 to 3 months. So that one coming back is really, really cool. Anyways, I think that's about it. All right, let's talk about some Magic Eden money over here. So let's start it off with good old GBDC. It was not trading yesterday, but I do want to put the highlight on this. GBDC really showing the way to the downside, getting back down to our December 17th, December 18th lows, essentially, which to me, looking at GBDC, looking at CMEs, these are the charts that I do think get the price action a little bit better. The reason why I say that is because those trade on more professional exchanges, not these like shitcoin, Bitcoin exchanges. And as you can see, the trend has been very obviously down the whole way through. Another lower high right on over here, lower lows the whole way through, and it looks like we're testing the lows once again. So I am very intent to see how we hold up later today when regular markets open, as I will be trading a little bit later today. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. I am recording. Also, the microphone's working great. You have no idea how many like hour-long videos I've recorded, and it's like, oh, my microphone's not working. Fuck. Anyways, I'm gonna put an alert right there. The second that we do go and fade the last low from December 17 at 792, I would be looking for new lows on spot action on Bitcoin. Same thing with CMEs. CMEs were not trading yesterday as regular markets were closed. They should be trading right now. Yes, indeed they are. And same thing right on over here. We never even got above the yellow 20-minute exponential moving average the whole way through. All of those moves to the upside happened during the weekends. And that's why I say that typically speaking, not always, but 9 out of 10 times, the weekend's price action is contrary to the week's direction, and it will be faded during the regular trading week. Why is that? Well, it's likely that, over the weekend, the professionals are not trading. They are, they're on like not a 9 to 5 schedule, but the regular market schedule, which is, 9:30 to 4 for New York time. And what was I going to say about that? And so they're not trading, on the weekends, and they basically just pack up their shit and take their ball home and don't play. So, the lesser sophisticated algos get to, or the less sophisticated, market movers get to kind of run things on the weekends, and they can prevent the illusions of these counter trend breakouts, get everyone on the wrong side, take out a bunch of stops, and then run it the other way when the new weekly opens, which is what we've seen the whole way through, in fact. Before I forget as well, we've been doing live streams on Twitch every day. Usually, actually not recently 2 times a day, and today's obviously not going to be a 2 time a day as well. But when I don't do it 2 times a day, then I just do a super long one in the evening. It's really, really chill. Do a little bit of gaming in the background, do a little bit of analysis in the foreground, and it's really, really cool environment. So feel free to join on in over there. The link's in the description as well. Anyways, from a CME perspective, we do have a lot of problems here. Daily Stokes are about to have a fresh cross to the downside. Obviously, we've already seen spot price action do the same thing. We are essentially in the same resistance area. This is around the bullish control zone, and we are finding pressure around there, which is to be expected. Actually, as we've been speaking about, we see historical volatility percentile get no motherfucker. Oh, hold on, there we go. I thought I actually exit out. We are seeing historical volatility percentile get very, very low here, but it's still contracting. So I still stick by what I said, that I don't think that we get the big move for another week or so, week to a week and a half, very, very likely. But overall, the second that we see CMEs take out last week's low, which was 70.80, which we got we did take it out. Wow. Okay. I would be looking for further downwards price action. Of course, the trend is your friend, and the trend is very much down. And if we're going off of GBDC's kind of signature, which has been leading price action to the downside when it is on the same side of the overall macro trend, and vice versa for the other side, it actually follows to the upside on the bounces. Then we'd probably be looking for a move back down into this region here. I do think that a test of the bottom side of our more immediate support is around 6,900. Is probably going to happen as we do see momentum oscillators on the daily turn back down around. Daily RSI is also bearish as well, breaking the exponential and also initiating hidden bearish divergence. And also, do we have regular bearish divergence as well? No, we don't, but we do have hidden bearish divergence between this point, and this point actually. So probably good enough to bring us back down to the downside of the range. And in this scenario, it actually suggests a little bit further down than what I'm saying at 6,900. This would suggest somewhere right around 68 to 68.50-ish region. But let's go back to spot price action for Bitcoin, and let's see what we got going on over here. So first things first, we are still within this ascending triangle, right? And it's the same guy right here that we've been looking at. I'll briefly put in a nice little triangle to draw it out, something like this. And you do see that we have an apex coming in a little bit later this month, which does suggest that somewhere right around here, we are very statistically likely to break. And that would be kind of in about a week to the middle of January, when these things get about 69 to 75% full, which is just a good number. But that's when they become statistically very, very likely to break. And as we just looked at on what's it called, on historical volatility percentile on the CME daily, we are contracting into that area, which would likely line up with an expansion period around that time. Anyways, as far as the 2-day goes, I think that it gets a price action extremely well. Now, yes, we are on the 2-day 200 simple. That's the last bit of hopium that I really have. Well, sorry, there's 2 bits of hopium that we have here. Or actually, there's multiple pieces of hopium that we have. We'll talk about them all. But I do have to do the title a little bit of justice. But okay, so first things first, we're on the 200 simple right now. I don't think that this holds. Doesn't look good to me. Overall bad. But the next piece of hopium would be the bottom side of this ascending triangle, right around 6,900. Until we actually fully and formally break there, could it be that Bitcoin puts in another low, maybe fakes it out, and then brings it back up and runs it the other way? Yeah, potentially. But this is a bearish formation. It is more likely than not to break out to the downside when you're talking about it from a statistical standpoint. And speaking of statistics, we can actually go back to the expected moves chart with regards to historical volatility percentile on Bitcoin, and we can actually see now officially, and this is pretty fucking big here, that the bottom side of the first standard deviation is actually right around 6,900 to the fucking dot, which means that it is that the probabilities of this breaking to the downside on a day-to-day basis have been increasing, the whole way through, essentially, as we just kind of like slowly but surely mark our way down. Now it is less than 16% chance that we actually break below $6,900 today. Which I don't think that we break it today. I think that if we came down and tested, it probably would bounce, and we probably play out another bounce, for another week or two or something like that, and then break somewhere right around here. Whether it be to the upside or the downside, again, statistically speaking, this is more likely to break to the downside. More importantly, just as important to the upside, you can see that the top side of our first standard deviation is coming in around 7,300, again, marking our lower highs. So it's saying that it would be less than a 16% chance to even revert the very, 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 very short-term trend, which now we could look at our last prior high right around 7,400-ish region. So as long as we're below there, that's still a downtrend on a daily, of course, and it would be quite unlikely that we should get back above there today. Which doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's just today we're probably going to be ranging, probably test the downside of the maybe test the downside of the range, something like that. I don't have a super strong opinion. We can look at the lower time frames a little bit later, but the higher time frames are what dictates the greater picture. And this is how we've been remaining bearish in this overall market, even though there's been some nice bounces here and there. But those are what the lower time frames are for, getting those. And of course, the second standard deviation is actually coming in right around 7,550, that last prior high, which in my opinion still 7,550 is a humongous area. Until Bitcoin gets back above there, I see no real reason to be bullish, looking for a move into the mid 8,000s. However, if we did get back above 7,550, I actually do think that we'd at the very least get to 78 to 7,900, and very likely get up to 8,500 ish region, which we'll talk about in a second here. But again, that would be above the second standard deviation, which is literally less than a 2.5% chance at this price point. On this day, as it is right now. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but for today in the next 24-hour period, that's essentially what it says. But realistically, what this is really saying is that we're ranging on the lows, and the probabilities of testing the downside of the range actually quite likely. Looking at 2-day momentum oscillators, we do see that 2-day Stokes have officially crossed the downside, and we do see that we are rejecting the bullish control zone once again, the same area that has held us back ever since July. So July is pretty much where we put in this high at about 12,500. So it's been getting all of these relevant highs along the way. This guy right here, this guy right here, this guy right here, the 10-3 break, which is where we got bearish. This guy right here, breaking below 94. And now more recently, we are seeing it cross down once again from that same territory on this area right here. So, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and that is what it is saying. Not only that, but we do have hidden bearish divergence initiated on the 2-day as well. between this point and this point, or what I really should refer to it as continuation divergence. But, that's, again, likely to get us back down to the downside of the range, which in this case would be somewhere right around 6,900 to 6,950-ish region. So now I want to talk about the other, I want to talk about some hopium. Like, what are the last bits of hopium here? Like, what are people holding on to who are bullish, who are like actually reasonable people, not just bullish because it's Bitcoin and, Bitcoin's going to the moon because it's going to replace everything. It's like, okay, well, can we talk about reality for a second, maybe? And what are people looking at who are saying something like that? Well, they're likely looking at this as some sort of a descending broadening wedge. Where is my chart that shows it? Yeah, here it is right here. Descending broadening wedge right here, which would imply that, yes, we can test back down to 6,900, even as low as the bottom side of this of this broadening wedge support, which would be in the low 6,000s, in fact. But until we actually break it, we're still holding this area right here. And typically speaking, these are, bullishly resolved. And in this case, we would have a measure move right here, pointing us all the way up to about anywhere between about 8,400 to 8,500, which, funnily enough, would be right in this blue box territory right here, which would pretty much be in line with this long-term downtrend resistance. So if Bitcoin did play out a bounce a little bit later, and we got back above that 7550-ish region, that's where I'm getting this from. So, is there still a little bit of hopium left? Yes. That would be one piece of it. That would be a big piece of it. The other biggest piece of it that I see is looking at gold over here. Obviously, we've been monitoring this quite a bit, and gold got the pullback that we were talking about, and now it looks like it's lifting off once again. Let's actually go back on over here. Oh, actually, I was looking for it to come back down a little bit further, but it's okay. Looks like it wants to be resilient in this region, and that is strength. And overall, I'm bullish on this one. And the reason why this is relevant to Bitcoin is because, well, if I can get my indicators right, look at the correlation coefficient right here on a higher time frame like a weekly, which does accurately represent the trend, especially on an asset like this that has a lot more history. We do see in the purple histogram down here that Bitcoin is quite correlated with gold on a weekly closing schedule. So gold breaking out and taking that next leg up and looking like it wants to retain its bullishness. This is a massive bull flag right here getting resolved to the upside, and it looks to me like it wants to reach up to this next blue box territory right here. Actually, a measure move from this bull flag into about a little bit above 1,600. It does bode well for Bitcoin. Historically speaking, I would say that that is more or less a good thing. And that would be just another thing saying, hey, does Bitcoin, just dig itself out of the grave right here and follow gold? Well, historically speaking, yes, that has been the case. Not only that, and fucking crypto anarchists are really going to hate this one, but looking at traditional markets, looking at SPY right over here. If we go to the monthly, and we put on the same indicator, we can actually see that on the macro, and we do need to use a monthly for traditional markets to get the macro here, whereas Bitcoin, it's like a weekly, and we do see that Bitcoin is heavily correlated with traditional markets on the macro, and traditional markets are bullish as fuck. They are bullish at phenomenal close to close out 2019, and while I do think that we probably come back down to start off 2020, we probably do come back down maybe to like 317, 315, something like that. I do think that we're going to get continuation overall here. This is massively bullish. Monthly RSI looking damn good. This is what you want to see, getting back into the bullish control zone and also resolving this descending broadening wedge, by the way, to the upside. Oh, I guess I already have it in there. This is all on a monthly scale, and monthly Stokes, this is powerful right here. So when I look at something like that, long term, is it more like that Bitcoin kind of like puts in a bottom relatively soon, and then charges its way up? Actually, kind of maybe. Now this, again, we're talking about a monthly over here, so this could still take another few months for it to really transpire. But it is in the cards, and looking at that and also gold, I do kind of like what I see there from a longer term perspective. I don't think that Bitcoin's like going down into. I don't think Bitcoin's going to like $3,000 if that's like the general thought process. Is it possible? Yes, but there's a lot of bridges to cross before we get down around there. Now I didn't talk about the downside enough because realistically I am overall bearish on Bitcoin right here. If Bitcoin does break 6,900, if we do, we need to close below it, preferably on a higher time frame. I'd say 12-hour minimum, daily preferable, 2-day even even better. If we can close below 6,900, then yes, it would initiate a measure move down here towards the low 6,000s, about 6,100, which would be in line with this horizontal from a historical standpoint, all the way down to our 2018 lows. I'm sure everyone remembers this. Low 6,000 was kind of like the muddy territory that we got stuck in a million times. So supports build up down around there, and I would expect a nice bouncy bounce. Taking everything off and putting on the volume profile, you will notice that we do have some nice thick AF nodes coming in this region. It's kind of like the last of the Mohicans for that higher value region. So, likely we do have a bounce there as well. But personally speaking, I actually don't think that we'd bottom there. I do think that we'd likely come down a little bit further, probably to like 5,500, but very, very strong likelihood for a bounce here. Maybe that's where, we'd see a nice bounce bringing us back up to test the top side of this descending trend line. But keep in mind that on a macro scale for Bitcoin, and getting naked on these charts right now, it's very difficult to be bullish on this as long as we are in a weekly downtrend. The weekly trend has gotten Bitcoin's price action extremely well since the dawn of time, essentially. Anytime we've had a reversal there, that's been your major massive moves. In this case, we're not going to have a reversal here until we set in a higher high and a higher low. Do we have a potential higher low right here? Kind of. I don't know how much it holds up, but maybe. And more importantly, our higher high, we can't really have a higher high until we get back above this guy right here, 9,500. So Bitcoin's got a lot of work to do to really make me overall bullish. And this higher high at 9,500 is actually lower than where this long-term downtrend resistance line is. In fact, it would be much lower than even the that descending broadening wedge that we've identified would target us to. So Bitcoin has a lot of work to do. And to be fair, on this ascending channel, those typically do break out to the upside, statistically speaking, once again. But there's no time component involved. And no, this is not a fucking bull flag. If it was a bull flag, it would have broke to the upside somewhere around here, which is why we got bearish the second that we broke this to the downside. That was the big bad blow. So what we're looking at right now is concerning, and all major moving averages on all higher time frames are bearish. We do see that the red 10 symbols cross the downside of the yellow 21. That has been good enough to produce this price action right here, to produce this price action right here, and basically all the major moves to the downside before. Just living below the 21 exponential moving average has been bad enough for Bitcoin. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Sometimes it makes it a little bit too easy, which makes you second guess a lot of things. But looking at this guy right here, just the 21, this yellow moving average, anytime that we're generally above it, generally good. Anytime that we're below it, generally bad. And right now we are well below it. In fact, that 21 is coming in right around low 8,000. So, I mean, we have a lot of resistances to chew through. So I don't really think that Bitcoin's reversing anytime soon. Low time frames will probably get a little bit of upside here and there, but that's not what we're really focused on right now. And we do see that looking at this as a falling channel, there is something of interest here. We do see a descending trend line on the volume, which likely does get this the major breakout out of this falling channel right. But here's a problem. It would imply, move this around, it would imply that we probably break somewhere right around here, somewhere right around here, which would be March, April-ish region. So around that time, the bottom side of this support is actually in the low 5,000s. The top side of this resistance is like literally where we are right now. So a lot of damage can be done to price action within that time, and that tells me not to really be in any sort of a major hurry longer term. Looking at, we're not going to see too much from historical volatility percentile in that perspective on a time frame like this. Daily, same sort of a thing. In fact, we do see kind of a regression being drawn in here, coming in from the highs at 14,000. And if we do expand that a bit, you can see that, yes, somewhere around March to April, in fact, is where we do see that this really starts to become quite tight. It's around that 69 to 75% full region. And that's where I'd probably be looking for a break on this greater formation as a whole. So yeah, a lot of things to be aware of here. But the daily is quite damning. We saw the daily Stokes cross the downside yesterday, again rejecting the bullish control zone, the same area that we've kind of topped out since October. We do see that daily RSI is bearish. We do see that we've lost the exponential. We do see that we've gotten back into the bearish control zone, which tells me that we're probably going to spend a little bit of time in there. And I think now it's time to, let's put back on all these major movement. No, bad. There we go. Let's put back on all these major movement averages, and let's go through some of the lower time frames. Or actually, before we get into that, let's look at the 3-day. I'm curious what the 3-day is saying. 3-day RSI is showing that same hidden bearish divergence. Potentially, but we still haven't taken out this last 3-day low right here. That was 70.52. We came damn close, 70.69, spot 1.8 on stamp. So we still haven't necessarily done that. but getting close. CMEs already have taken out last week's low, to be fair, and I do put more weight on CMEs. And we do see 3-day stocks are actually up right now, which is typically a good sign, but they're kind of the odd man out, so I don't know how much I trust that. Okay, so cool. We do see that the 3-day 200 simple is coming in right around about 6,900. So if we do come down around there, I don't think that we have the momentum to break it right now. I do think that we should focus a little bit more time on the daily for a second here. We do see all major moving averages in a bearish posture. We see all lower periods below higher periods. We see the red 10 simple cross the downside of the yellow 21 once again. And anytime that Bitcoin's been living below the 21 with this splayed out effect of, well, all lower periods below higher periods, that's when we're trending essentially. We see a very similar signature. I've been pointing this out for a long time now, so I should probably stop. Probably getting boring. But we do have the death cross right here. This is May 2018 on the rejection from 10,000. Death cross right here. All lower periods cross below higher periods right here. All negative slopes on major moving averages right here. Bitcoin held below the 21 the whole way, and as long as we were below the 21, that yellow moving average, we are trending to the downside, and then the 200 simple curls down and gets a negative slope as well, kind of like the dagger on it all. And as long as we're living below the 200 simple on the daily, this white moving average right here, Bitcoin is pretty heavily bearish, not till we actually break back up to the upside right here, where Bitcoin flips it back around. And very, very similar signature to what we see right in over here. Death cross right here, green and purple, all lower periods below higher periods right here with the cyan and purple right here. All negative slopes on all major moving averages basically the whole way through. Bitcoin below the 21 once again. And the 200 simple has a negative slope, and it's getting sustained. So, it's likely that we do drop off from here. At some point, I would be looking for a pretty major rally to test the 200 simple once again. It doesn't need to be exactly like this, but, over here we get rejected from it. It doesn't look the exact same. It's not a fucking fractal. We're just looking at the interaction between moving averages, a very, very, definable piece of edge, not a fucking fractal, and in price action relationship to it. So, the 200 simple, by the way, is well below our last prior high of 9,500, unfortunately. Not well below. It's about a couple $100 below. But you can imagine that over time, that's going to start to curl down around and meet this downtrend resistance line somewhere right around here, maybe end of January, essentially. So if we do have a bounce later on, later on this month, maybe February, March, probably does top out somewhere right around there. And who knows, maybe it actually does break to the upside, but I need to see a change behavior first. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I need to it needs to prove itself first before I as a trader take the other side of this. Okay, cool. What else do we want to look at? Let's go look at the 12-hour. Start to work our way into the lower time frames. 12-hour Stokes, once again, telling you the way. I feel very dirty about mentioning this, but goddamn, man, blindly trading these have been very, 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 very profitable. We do see that rejects getting out of the bearish control zone and boom down. That was a day and a half ago, basically getting this last high here. And, while we have tested our former low, it doesn't look all that hot. 12-hour RSI is bearish and looking like it's gaining momentum back into the bearish control zone. Looks to me like it wants to get comfortable within there. And don't really see anything on HVP. What about a 10-hour? 10-hour actually gets it quite well. 10-hour historical volatility percentile is very, very low. So we probably are looking at a good midterm move here. We're probably looking to expand midterm, which would probably be good enough to bring us back down into this region here, 6,900, I'd imagine. What else do we have? 10-hour RSI bearish as well. I'm curious. Do we have any signals on the on Jewel? No, we don't. We haven't had a signal on a Jewel for a while. Since our last pump from like 6,400 to 73 or 7,500, nice $1,000 move. But looking at 4-hour historical volatility percentile, we are crushed here. We're set to expand, and longer term, we are still kind of declining on this, of course. Let me just draw that in right there. But I would be looking for a spike up to meet this regression somewhere around here, perhaps. And again, that's probably not going to give us enough momentum to like really break any major structural areas, but it's probably good enough for a few $100 move. 4-hour RSI is bearish, but we do see this trend line forming here. So while I do think that we get another move down, it probably takes us down to the edge of the critical zone. That's also going to create some divergences, I'd imagine, and that's probably going to set us up for a bounce. Tentatively speaking, could that be in this region that we're looking at right here? Perhaps, yes. Looking at 4-hour momentum oscillators, we see 4-hour Stokes down once again, getting rejected from getting out of the bullish control zone. 4-hour Jewel is kind of in a bearish posture, but that is not a signal in any way, shape, or form. Same thing with 3-hour. 3-hour Stokes coming down from the same area, getting rejected from getting out of the bearish control zone. 3-hour historical volatility percentile is crushed as well. So all the lower time frames historical volatility percentiles is getting very, 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 very low. So we probably do see a move today or sometime later or today or tomorrow. Let's say today is Thursday. What's up, Jam Buddy? Good to meet you, man. Welcome to the cave, my friend. Perhaps that's on Twitch though. 3-hour RSI, going to be creating some divergences, but not quite there just yet. And let's go down to the 2-hour, see what that's doing. Again, historical volatility percentile, very, very low here. We are going to, I think it's very high likelihood that we see like a multi-$100 move. This is also the hourly, by the way. You can see that's contracting over a long period of time. Probably do see a multi-$100 move either later today or tomorrow. I'd say it's quite likely. Oh, he just subscribed. Holy shit, man. Hey, thank you for that. Let's see. Lowered hourly Stokes turning around, it looks like, or trying to turn around. What about 2-hour? Getting very far down there. So, that tells me that we probably don't have enough momentum to break 6,900 if we do test down around there. And in fact, it's almost looking like Bitcoin wants to set in a little bit of a local low right here. Maybe it rallies back up to 7,180, 7,200 region. I don't really have a strong opinion about that. If you are looking at the lower term time frames, we can even make a more aggressive descending trend line right here, and that would be coming in somewhere right around 7,350. So if we did get one of those scam wicks to the upside, which I love that term, it's great. I probably would be looking for somewhere in that region there. I'm not too married to that though. Again, lower time frames are going to get the ebbs and the flows, kind of like your bear market bounces. Of which are we looking at when happen right now before our very eyes, or do we move a little bit lower? I personally speaking, I think that we move a little bit lower here, but I'm that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the higher time frames, which have been keeping me safe and SAFU. Looking at the Bitcoin VWAP ratio, checking on this guy, still bearish overall. We have the same signature that has led on to all 70% plus pullbacks in Bitcoin's history. So let's now take this one step further. I forgot one last piece of Hopium. I'm sure everyone's already aware of it because cryptocurrency is just a massive echo chamber, especially for cryptocurrency analysis. But looking at the hash ribbons for Bitcoin, we did get a buy signal on this, which has been pretty good in the past. The problem with this is that while it does get the long term well, it doesn't mean that we can't come back down to the prior lows. It's telling us that the low is in almost all cases in beforehand, and the next move down is typically a buy. So going back and kind of back testing these guys, you see a buy signal right here. Bitcoin does come down to the prior low, doesn't break the prior low, but it does come down. So it's not a good timing effect, but it is a good kind of like macro decider, I guess. Same thing right on over here, tells you to buy right here, but we don't really get the momentum going until, a month later. Same thing right on over here. We have a nice rally, then it comes literally all the way back down. This one actually does kind of make a slightly lower low on top of that, and then gets another move to the upside. Same thing right here. This would have been a terrible one as well for as far as timing goes. And this guy right here, again, terrible timing, but technically the low was in beforehand. And before that, we got this guy right on over here. This guy running over here was actually a pretty good one. This guy running over here, another decent one. This guy running over here, not so decent. So, it does accurately get the bottom typically being in, but getting the momentum from there, that not so much. And we certainly do see a lot of examples where it comes back down to the prior low. So could it be that Bitcoin comes back down to like 6,500, and then reverse from there? Yeah, perhaps possible. Anyways, enough of that bullshit. That's the end of the Hopium right there. Okay, cool. I also do want to bring up the monthly. I'm going to follow up on this from yesterday. We'll follow up this from the last few months, really. Monthly Stokes, rejection of the bullish control zone, gaining momentum to the downside. Bad. Actually, very reminiscent of what we see right on over here. Rejecting bullish control zone. Boom, down. Let's see what happened. This was in February 2014. Oh, fuck! That was this bull trap right here. So is this just one massive bull trap? Maybe. What's more the Stokes I don't really care all that much about on the monthly for this one, but what I do care a lot about is I care a lot about you. I actually do care a lot about you, but what I do care a lot about is RSI right here, and we've rejected the bullish control zone down, rejected the exponential also down. To me, this is likely to come back down and test around the edge of the bearish control zone at the very least, which would imply some more downside. As long as we're below the exponential, I'm kind of like macro bearish. And while Bitcoin did end above the 21 exponential moving average, I'm not so convinced of this. In fact, I would say from a macro perspective, as long as we are below last month's high at 77.7, hard to be bullish from a short or medium or long-term time frame perspective. And as long as we're above this last wick low, which is 64.25 on stamp again, hard to look for that next move down around the 55, which is probably going to be in the mid 5,000. So what this is probably telling us is that we spend some time going sideways within this region, between mid to low 7,000s and mid 6,000s. Kind of just filling out that space. It's kind of telling us that, we probably shouldn't really be looking for a break of this range until coming into probably later this month or February. And of course, the other big thing that I like to follow up on as well is the accumulation distribution indicator, where is it? There you are. This one's quite damning, in fact. This one's quite damning, and we're going to put 2 and 2 together here for a second. I realize the video is getting a little bit longer, but I promise I'll wrap up soon. We do see a negative slope on the accumulation distribution indicator. That's all I care about on this fucking indicator. The slope has gotten pretty much everything right since the eternity of eternity. We do have a positive slope being gained in January 2019. That was our last low at 3,100. We do have a negative slope at March 2018. That was the rejection at 12,000 a couple years ago. This major bull trap right here. And, we do have a couple examples of where we do get a negative slope, and, we still get some pretty nasty downs. I mean, this is a downwards move of about 44.5% right there. But we don't like trend. We don't trend on a monthly to the downside. But again, same thing. Slope change to the upside right here. Boom, low is in. Slope change to the downside right here. Boom, high is in. So this one turning down once again is concerning, to say the least. And more importantly, it does suggest that we had distribution. If we had distribution on a monthly scale, then what does that mean for what we're looking at right here? It means that this is very unlikely to be a descending broadening wedge. What it's more likely to be is a descending trunk, because that is a bearish distribution pattern or redistribution pattern in this case. So again, I'll try to make this, or actually I'll wrap that up a little bit later. Let's go look at Bitcoin dominance. Probably still going to be bullish on it, I'd imagine. Yep, still bullish on it long term, short term, medium term, don't care. Let's go look at Butyrol and Litecoin. I'm curious how they're holding up right now. Butyrol still rejecting the 21, not bullish on it until it gets back above there. Even then, bullish is not the right term. It's in a rising channel bear flag right now, which typically does break out to the downside. Not really getting too much unique information off that. Litecoin actually kind of breaking this one. So as long as we're below the 21, nasty, bad. Funnily enough, the only altcoin that I've seen that, I shouldn't speak before I look at this again, but BSV we're looking at last night on Twitch, actually kind of holding it in a little bit better than some of the other ones. But is it likely to join the rest of the market if Bitcoin dumps? Most likely, yes. In fact, daily is, it's still a downtrend, really. Okay, cool. We looked at traditional markets. Like I said, for traditional markets, probably, I'd probably be looking for a little bit of down to open up the new year, and then I'd look for continuation, in the weeks to come. If we came down to like 315, that'd be completely fine. No real strong opinion other than that. Gold we already looked at. Gold bullish. What about USD versus what about dollar versus yen? Dollar versus yen, I would actually be, oh man, this is a fucking tough one right here. It's right at a major decision point. I should be bearish on it though. I should be bearish on it. Short term, likely bounces, maybe even as far as like 109. More medium to long term, I do think that it comes back down here to like 107-ish region. Weekly is looking, well, for lack of a better term, weak. We are on a downtrend right here as well, and we're right at, well, we just got rejected from pretty major resistance, so I don't like that. Looking at pound versus yen, the bounce getting faded a little bit, but I do, do we get a little bit more on top of this? Maybe. I don't have a strong opinion on that. What I have a strong opinion on is the macro here. The macro looks to me like a lower high. And major hidden bearish divergence, which probably does longer term bring us back down to 138 region. Now, I would be happy to revert that analysis if and only if we see a weekly close back above about 146. If we can do that, then yeah, I'd extend this all the way up to like 150-ish region, 151, and the fun begins once again. And it's no longer bearish. But for right now, I still think that longer term probably bearish. Let's see what the monthly says. Monthly's actually okay. What about USD or dollar yen? Monthly actually says likely up as well. All right, maybe I'm going to be completely wrong on that one. All right, well, fair enough. Let's go check out, what's the other one? Let's go check out dollar index. Dixie over here. Where is Dixie? There you are, you little bastard. 96.5. Looking down to me on the monthly. In fact, looks kind of like a top he's been putting on the monthly. Looking at the weekly, looks to me like we probably come back down to about $96. So weakness in the dollar, it looks like. And I think that's about it. Let's go back on to Bitcoin, and I'll just wrap up the biggest points on Bitcoin. Nothing's really changed over the last couple of weeks. The biggest points on Bitcoin still remain this. And if you want to make this super, super simple, 6,900 to the downside, 7,500 to the upside, or just use a 21 on the 2-day and the 377 on the 2-day. Both of those are probably going to accurately get it. If we do break to the downside, I'm looking at a move towards, at the very least, the prior low of about 65, 6,400, and probably extension to 6,100. 6,200-ish region. If we do break about above the 21 and close above 7,500, I would look for at the very least a move to about 78, 7,900 right here, and likely extension to that 8,500-ish region. And after that, we'll come back and reassess. But that's going to do it for right now. I want to remind all the people who are interested that the programs are on sale for another like 15 or so hours. Twitch will be going again tonight. Probably going to be a long session because I'm uploading this video a little bit earlier, or sorry, I'm gonna get to the gym a little bit earlier today. It looks like it's already 11, so good. What else? I think that's about it. Oh, also, you'll notice that on the YouTube channel, there's like a member section for YouTube, and that section I've actually taken the liberties of uploading a few videos, taking a few videos that used to be in like the free playlist before and putting them in there. The reason why I did that is not because like I want to fuck people. People weren't even watching the videos to begin with, but the reason why I did that is because there were a shit ton of scammers trying to steal my my programs, and so I hired an agency to take care of it. That's all been taken care of. It's fucking beautiful, and they're all awaiting letters, which is just great. I fucking love that. But what the scammers then reverted to doing was they took a lot of my free videos from like the TA 101 playlist and the Master Options playlist and a few others, and started trying to sell those on their websites and shit, which was hilarious to me. But also, it really fucking pissed me off because then people, like unsuspecting people, were buying into that, and then they're like, "Hey, Krown, these videos that you did for your program, they don't look all that professional." It's like, yeah, those were the fucking free ones on my YouTube. So my personal pride has gotten in the way, and what I've done now is I've just gone ahead and made those videos available to the members who pay for this this channel here. So you see the little join button below. It's available to all the tiers, and again, don't feel obligated to do anything like that. But I wanted to make sure that if you were looking for those videos, if you happen to be one of the people who actually fucking watch them, which is very few, then they're now included there. And so if you are a member of this channel as well, they are right a few there. Anyways, again, I want to say a massive thank you for tuning in. This past year was so fucking cool. I had a little bit of a heartfelt message yesterday, so I don't want to, I think I'll just leave that as it is, man. I really reflecting on the past year and just the community that we built up has been the payoff, really. So many fucking cool people, man, and so many people that I am happy to have brought into my life, because when you have people who you're surrounded by every day, who are going for it, trying to do something with their lives and whatnot, that is fulfilling. That is truly fucking fulfilling, and that's probably the most thing that I'm proud of with building this channel, building this community, and everyone's a part of that. You're just as much a part of it as I am. If you've been tuning this content, if you've been a part of this community and contributing in whatever way that people do, that's fucking awesome, man, and highly motivating to me to just continue. And I want to say massive thank you. I don't want to get like too teary-eyed from yesterday, but I do want to say as we kind of reflect on the past year, it really meant a lot, and I'm just happy that we have this community here. I think it's something truly special, and I'm kind of at a loss for words. I just only know how to say thank you. My cheeks are probably blushing as well, which is embarrassing, but I really do mean it. And I think that's going to be it for now. I'll sign off with the positive message of the day. Go fuck yourself, so we can balance it out. No, just kidding. But really, it's been truly amazing. So I'll be signing off now. I'll be back on there with some more live Twitch analysis and another 43 fucking minute video. Sorry about that. Take care, and until next time.